3 top tips on how estate and letting agents can work from home. Today, I'm joined by Dan Firth in the next of the Winning Ways series from the Agents Together Charitable Foundation, the organisation that helps estate agents and letting agents like you watching this. Dan, thanks for joining me today.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Post-COVID, a lot of people still working from home. You've got 3 amazing top tips to help the boys and girls out there in estate and letting agency land working from home. Talk to me.
Yeah, you're right. More and more common since COVID. But in my opinion, working from home can be either one of the most rewarding things, or it could be one of the most challenging things if you don't get it right. One of the big risks is feeling lonely. So being able to create an environment where you don't feel lonely, you can still be productive.
Yes,
and
because especially
really
estate
important.
agents, you know, they're social butterflies, aren't they?
Well, we're driven by people. I think back to, early days of working in a branch and, you win an instruction or you sell a house and there's high fives and there's hugs. So you celebrate the highs, but also you understand the lows as well with each other. If someone is picking up, there's someone there to do it with you. So I think understanding some real basics about maybe creating that office environment at home is really, really important. So I think the first tip for me would be to make sure you separate work from home. I see so many people that blur the lines, maybe even from where they work. Sitting at the dining room table, for example, rather than having a dedicated space, it will change the way that you think about work.
Yeah, but some of us haven't got a spare bedroom.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a spare bedroom. It can be anywhere. I think it's just separating that space. It may well be that you go to the kitchen, you go to a particular room, you go to a particular part of the house, the garden, wherever it may be, that actually something in your brain says, actually, now I'm at work. Because when you walk into an office, you're at work and you know that. So creating that so you know where you're working. Another thing to think about sort of with the separating work from home is, when do you work? When do you start work? Because actually it's very easy when you've got to be at a place to say, I start at 8:30, so I'll get there for 8:15. If you haven't got that accountability of when you start, how do you create that? So you have to almost create your own sort of working hours. If somebody's not going to do it for you, create it. So when do you start work? And then how do you work? Generally, if you're going to go to an office, you'll probably dress for it. You'll get yourself into the right mindset to work. Well, actually, at home, we should do the same. I'm not saying everyone should be suited and booted when they're on Zoom calls, but wearing something and dressing in a way that you think, actually, I'm at work. So I think tip number 1 for me is separate work from home.
Okay.
2 would be, going back to that loneliness, is stay connected. Find a way to stay connected. We've all, most of us got mobile phones. We've got Zoom. We've got all different ways of staying connected. Don't isolate yourself. And I think that's quite easy in an employed world, because that will probably be created naturally for you. Somebody will talk to you and you'll maybe have Zoom meetings. But we've got a lot of people now working self-employed from home. So actually, I think that's maybe a bit more challenging, is how do you stay connected with people if you don't work for them? And personally, when I was self-employed, I just had sort of accountability partners or friends that were doing the same sort of thing. And, accountability partner is a nice flash word for someone that you can ring and celebrate those highs and maybe have a bit of a rant now and again if you need to. So staying connected with people and not isolating yourself would be really, really important. And then the third one would be, enjoy it. See it for what it is. Enjoy the benefits that come with it. If you're working in an office, you're quite sort of tied to that office. You can't maybe enjoy other parts of it. But again, if I think back to when I was self-employed, yes, I probably would nip out, walk the dog, make the most of that time. I would do things around the house. I'd, put the washing on and things like that. So actually enjoy it and don't sort of feel too bad about doing things that aren't always work related. If you think about being in an office, you don't, for those 8 hours, you don't work solidly for those 8 hours. There will be little bits where you go and talk to somebody in the canteen, or you go for a little walk. People that smoke will go outside and smoke. Still afford those benefits at home. Give yourself permission to enjoy it as well.
Thank you for your time today, Dan.
Pleasure.